Opening. City Creek Center opens its doors to the public. We'll show you the ribbon ceremony and the massive mall's impressive features.
Password pressure. Now that Facebook has strict privacy settings, employers are asking job applicants for their login information. But is it legal?
And shooting protests. Floridians rally to call for justice for a man who shot and killed an unarmed teen. I'm Anna Hayes.
And I'm Angela Montirez. It's Thursday, March 22nd, and in Utah, it's 12 o'clock.
From KBYU and the BYU Department of Communications. This is the award-winning 11 News at noon.
Graduation is almost here, and students are putting together their resumes and looking for jobs. 11 News reporter Benjamin Carter tells us how Facebook is a critical element in this process.
It's no secret employers use Facebook to gather information on potential employees, but now they want your password, putting job seekers in a dilemma.
Sharing passwords is a violation of Facebook's Statement of Rights and Responsibilities, and every user agreed to that when creating their accounts. You know, those things that people don't read. Giving up a password is something some people are unwilling to do.
If it's a matter of principle to you, you can absolutely say that in an interview and say, you know, I'm adhering to Facebook's privacy policy. I don't share that information with anybody.
Lawyers across the nation aren't sure if asking for passwords is even legal. It is the focus of proposed legislation in Maryland and Illinois that would forbid public agencies from asking to access social network sites.
You know, there's a lot of things employers are not allowed to ask by law in an interview, and much of that information can be found on Facebook.
Unknowable basic information that might be on your Facebook page includes religion, marital status, and sexual preference. When put in the uncomfortable situation of revealing such personal things to employers, some people decide to walk away from jobs.
If you're not comfortable with the company using that practice, there may be other practices that the company is engaging in that you won't feel comfortable with either. And so it can help you inform your decision as to whether or not to actually work for that company.
Students can prepare for this and other interview questions by researching company policies beforehand. Anna?
Thanks, Ben. Check out 11news.byu.edu to find out what your potential employer's interview process will be like. The BYU professor who sparked controversy in a Washington Post article will retire in June. Randy Bott's son confirms his father is leaving the university and plans to serve a church mission. Professor Bott's quotes in the article brought a quick reaction from church headquarters. They published a statement saying Bott's comments on the history of blacks in the church do not represent church teachings or doctrines.
An audit at Utah State University has led to the firing of a high-level employee. Jennifer Twist was the executive director over enrollment, and the audit found what it calls irregularities in her handling of financial aid money. The university is not releasing the audit details yet, other than announcing Twist's firing, saying it's part of an ongoing investigation. Provo's Energy Department is preparing to hire an auditor to make sure their financial books are in order. City Council members have two concerns with the Energy Department. The first is whether or not Provo is investing enough money into energy, and the second is how well the city encourages energy conservation. A contract will be signed before June 30th.
This warm weather we're having might motivate people to go outside and catch a few rays, but the sun can still damage your skin. 11 News reporter Haley Shockless explains how some locals may see the benefit of getting screened for skin cancer.
Wendy Castleton says she knows a little vitamin D from the sun can keep her body healthy, but she's discovered that too much can lead to wrinkles, sunspots, or even cancer.
I have a neighbor that's been getting some skin cancer removed, and so it kind of made me aware of, you know, it can happen.
Many people go outside this time of year, and Utah County health officials say some still don't protect their skin.
I think people don't realize how much sun they get, especially when it's cooler. You know, when they're exposed skin, they're not feeling the heat of it.
The tiniest moles can often go unnoticed, but checking your skin for unusual changes and having screening tests like this every year means more people can prevent any form of cancer from spreading.
Health officials urge people to examine the size, shape, and color of moles, freckles, and sores themselves, because early detection can minimize the potential for skin cancer. But when the sun calls for outdoor activities, They say to cover up and stay protected.
Use your sunblock. It takes a little while to put it on and maybe inconvenient, but it can do a lot of good.
In Provo, Haley Shockless, 11 News.
Health officials also say precancerous spots feel different, but they may not look different. If you're not sure, the Utah County Health Department will offer more screenings this spring.
Not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea at all.
When 11 News at Noon returns. Fury in Florida. People rallied together for a change in a Floridian law that they say is allowing murder without consequence.
And a 7-foot slam. This 16-year-old Indian boy has some big dreams, and we'll tell you all about them when we come back. The public outcry is spreading across the country for police to arrest George Zimmerman. Zimmerman says he acted in self-defense last month in Florida when he shot 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. And police say they have no evidence otherwise. And of course, this outrage is causing public outrage in Florida. If
this took place in another city, certainly Mr. Zimmerman would have been arrested. It did not take place here. I'm being told it was because of the Florida law. That, I think, needs to be looked at.
French police say an alleged shooter, Mohamed Mira, is dead after killing 7 people. Excuse me, we're having some technical difficulties, but we will get to this. The man who French police say went on a shooting rampage is dead. The NBA could possibly have their first player from India, and the Japanese cherry blossoms decided to blossom early. Here's your look at news from around the world. He's 7'1", wears a 19 shoe, and is only 16 years old. Satnam Singh from India is in the U.S. training to hopefully become the first player the first NBA player from his country. Basketball didn't really exist in Satnam's village until a family friend saw his potential and set up a hoop in his house. Now he's in Florida working on his dream. French police say an alleged shooter, Mohamed Mira, is dead after killing 7 people. Authorities say Mira leapt from a window to his death as police closed in on him. Dan Rivers went to the man's neighborhood to find out the shooter's background.
Toulouse feels like a city consumed with terror, the wail of sirens echoing and everyone asking whether Mera was alone or if there are more terrorists here. Some of the victims were Jewish, a rabbi, his 2 sons and a 7-year-old girl sent to Israel for burial. And soldiers were apparently targeted because of France's 4,000-strong military presence in Afghanistan. Mera perhaps unaware he'd shot fellow Muslims. This is the tough neighbourhood of Toulouse that Mera came from. The French Interior Minister says he belonged to an obscure Salafist group called Forzan Eliza, known for its opposition to the ban on full veils in France. A YouTube video purports to show Forzan members staging simulated firefights with paint guns and practicing hand-to-hand combat. CNN cannot independently verify the authenticity of this video. The French authorities tell CNN Mera had been under surveillance by French intelligence, and his lawyer confirms Mera had even been jailed just last month for motoring offences, the latest in a series of convictions for more minor crimes.
The neighborhood of Izard is characterized by delinquency due to drugs. He never had a history of this.
A lone wolf terrorist gunman is the nightmare scenario for intelligence agencies, but everyone in France is wondering if there are others like Mohamed Mera waiting to strike. Dan Rivers, CNN, Toulouse.
And in Japan, the long-awaited cherry blossoms are starting to bloom. These trees in southern Japan burst into blossoms of pink and white a day earlier than forecast, kicking off the season for the ancient tradition of blossom watching. The blossoms are not only beautiful, they also symbolize the return of spring to the island nation. And that's your look at news from around the world. Anna?
Thanks, Angela. Those are beautiful flowers. Still to come on 11 News at Noon. Athlete Award. It's quite an honor, and it could go to not 1, but 2 BYU athletes. And hot heels. These men are stumbling around in fashionable stilettos. We'll explain why.
And Japan isn't the only place that spring has sprung. We'll have your 11 News weather for you when we return.
So we've had a lovely start to spring,
Very
warm
nice.
weather, but
Yes.
will it keep up?
Well, let's see. Right now it's looking beautiful outside. If we take a look, there's still a little bit of snow left over on the top of the mountains. But down in the valley, things are really warming up. Right now it's a nice 54 degrees outside. With 38% humidity, and it's feeling pretty breezy with 18-mile-an-hour winds. And so tonight those temperatures will be dropping a little bit. We have a low that's going to be hitting around 46 degrees, as we can see here. And with that, we're going to have some partially cloudy skies, and our sunset's going to hit just a couple minutes before 7:45 p.m. tonight. So that'll be beautiful. Keep an eye out for that. As we look at the bigger picture with some storms that we can expecting later this week, we see some colder winds coming in off the northwest coast, but those should stay far away from Utah, and so we probably won't see any of that until later on this week. And so when we bring it back in and we look at those highs that are taking place around Utah, we have 59 in Logan, 62 in Salt Lake, like we said, 54 in Provo, and then down to 75 in St. George. So it's warming up with some beautiful weather. And down in St. George, we're going to stay in the high 70s throughout the rest of the weekend. Gorgeous and sunny with 76 today, a high of 79 this Saturday. And then coming in next week, early Monday, the temperature is going to drop a little bit to 61, and there's a 30% chance of rain. And that's true for northern Utah as well. Right now it's looking nice and sunny, 69 degrees, few clouds, and it's going to continue to be pretty windy this weekend. And then there's a 40% chance of rain on Monday. So overall, it's looking like spring, and we're expecting great things. If you want to get outside and have fun this weekend, it's the time for it. I think some friends and I are going to have a bonfire on Friday.
Ooh,
we're excited.
Weather.
Sounds
I
like,
love all that sunshine and warm weather.
Yeah, invite me. So Bridget, what's going on in sports?
Well, there is plenty going on. There's plenty of college basketball to keep you busy tonight as the tourney starts the round of 16. And next on sports, state honors. Utah Governor Gary Herbert is letting fans decide if two of BYU's own are worthy of statewide recognition. And Tebow trade. The nation's most talked about QB is moving across the country. Sports is next. Stay tuned. There's a first time for everything, and this year Utah has its first sports awards ceremony to recognize athletic excellence across the state. 11 Sports reporter Brady Tucker tells us about the two BYU student athletes who are up for Athlete of the Year.
The Governor's State of Sport Awards are brand new to the state of Utah and aim to celebrate athletes across the state. Utah's sports media and industry leaders nominated BYU women's soccer player Carly Payne for Female Collegiate Athlete of the Year.
Getting nominated for an award like this is an honor. It's exciting, and the athletes that are up for this award they're amazing athletes, and I think just being nominated is an honor.
Payne is a second-team Scholar All-American and received all West Coast Conference honors last season.
Carly Payne isn't the only BYU athlete nominated for a State of Sport award. Freshman phenom Lexi Eaton of the women's team is also nominated for Player of the Year.
Eaton started all 33 games as a true freshman, but her nomination is for Best Female High School Athlete of the 2011 calendar year. She led Springville High to a state championship and became the school's all-time leading scorer. Her goals for her remaining 3 seasons at BYU?
All-American for sure. That's definitely one of my goals, because I think that is, and I have potential to do that. I have the ability to do that.
Eaton and Payne are winners on the field, and come April, they say they hope to be winners off the field, too. On BYU campus, Brady Tucker, 11 Sports.
It's up to the fans to decide the winners of each award. You can go to our website, 11news.byu.edu, for a link to vote for Payne and Eaton and the rest of your favorite Utah sports moments and athletes. Most would agree Tim Tebow is one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the NFL, especially after last season. But with the Denver Broncos signing Peyton Manning, Tebow has found a new home, and it's in the Big Apple. After a wild day of negotiations, the New York Jets managed to trade their 4th and 6th round draft picks to the Broncos for Tebow. ESPN insider Adam Schefter says the Jets will also pay $2.53 million of the salary advance due to Tebow. And it looks like Tebow mania has already hit New York.
I am so excited. I love Tebow, and I love the Jets, so this is awesome, and it's necessary. We need them.
And even though most fans' brackets are completely busted, the NCAA tourney starts back up again tonight. 16 teams are left on the road to the national championship, and the action starts in Boston with 1-seed Syracuse versus 4-seed Wisconsin, and then Cincinnati versus Ohio State. And in the West, Marquette, the team that knocked BYU out of the tourney, is still alive and will play Florida after the Michigan State-Louisville game. And Utah's NBA team is taking on BYU's favorite basketball player tonight in California's capital. Utah and Sacramento split the first 2 games in the series this season. The Jazz are looking for their 5th straight win, which would tie their streak high, the season high streak. But the Kings are not hot, having won their last 3. It'll be up to the Kings coach Keith Smart to decide how much Jimmer will play tonight. Fredette's seen anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes in his last 3 games.
So Bridget, if the Jazz win tonight, what does that mean for us?
Well, they're just out of playoffs right now, but if they win, it'll get them back on the right track and hopefully get them a spot in the playoffs.
Great.
I'll be rooting for the Jazz.
Best of luck to them.
No problem.
Thanks. Still to come on 11 News at noon. High heel hike. These guys strut their pumps around campus, and it's all for a good cause. We'll show you what they're doing when we come back. Some say they hope it will turn downtown Salt Lake around, and some worry that it will clog downtown with traffic. But whatever your view is, the day has finally come for the opening of the new City Creek Center Mall near Temple Square. We sent 11 News reporter Jen Jacobson to Salt Lake for the grand opening, and Jen, it seems there's a lot of anticipation.
It is quite the event, Anna. There are already thousands of people here at the ceremony this morning, including Governor Herbert and the LDS Church's first presidency. Officials say they are expecting 50,000 shoppers to stop by City Creek Center just today alone.
The LDS Church designed and funded the construction of this mega mall located on the west side of Temple Square. Putting such a big mall so close to one of the world's largest tourist attractions raises questions about traffic and parking. To cope with the additional visitors, architects designed a 5,000-spot parking garage underneath the mall.
It's an extraordinary investment. It's an extraordinary piece of real estate, and it is changing the dynamics of Utah's capital city.
There are over 90 stores, restaurants, and services at the mall, and a third of them are new to the area, including Coach, Tiffany's, and Nordstrom. Architects designed a retractable glass roof so shoppers have the benefits of being outdoors without the consequences of being in the rain. Ironically enough, the mall is covered in water features. The City Creek fountains share the same designer as Bellagio's famous fountains in Las Vegas. Architects positioned the mall's walkways around several small trees and creeks to reflect Utah's outdoors.
I love the creek, like you can hear the creek, and I love just like how it's taken so much of Utah's natural kind of feel.
The nation hasn't seen a mall opening like this since 2006. The cutting of the ribbon symbolizes yet another international milestone Salt Lake has achieved, along with the Olympics and the Temple Square attraction.
City Creek Mall opened just in time as the LDS Church's General Conference is 1 week away, and the Temple Square will be packed with potential shoppers. At the City Creek Center, Jen Jacobson, 11 News.
Release the shoppers already. Thanks, Jen.
Some college men in Kentucky have a newfound respect for women and their fashion, speaking of fashion, and it's all for a good cause. They traded their sneakers in for pairs of stiletto heels and then walked all around campus in them, even up hills and on the street. This Take a Walk in Her Shoes campaign raised more than $1,000 for charities that fight violence against women. As soon as it was over, the men quickly went back to their tennies.
Okay, seriously, I love it. It's hard walking around in high heels. They don't know how it feels. That's right.
I'm so glad they got a taste.
That's right. They deserve it. It's 11 News at noon for Thursday, March 22nd.
You can join us anytime on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for watching and have a great afternoon.